Hi, it's Charlie giving you Saturday's video, and I'm recommending you for most people, to avoid this. Well, what is this? Well, I've been inundated over this past week with a message, and that message reads like this. I'm experiencing a 6% drawdown, so this person is having a 6% drawdown at the moment. Now, by itself, a 6% drawdown is nothing, and in fact, 6% drawdown really is minuscule as far as drawdowns for normal traders are concerned. When would this be larger? It would be larger if you were risking, maybe 0.1% per trade or 0.2%. Then yes, it would be larger. But if you're risking anywhere from 0.5% to 1% per trade of your account, then a 6% drawdown is within the normal realms of trading. And certainly, 10 to 20% would be within the normal realms at some time or other. I digress. So the message is I'm experiencing a 6% drawdown on my funded account, which is causing significant concern. I'm eager to find a solution to this situation before reaching the maximum allowable drawdown. Any advice or strategies to address the issue would be greatly appreciated. Now, of course, I've already replied just briefly to this person's message, but I think this is a common problem with funded accounts. So is that they do have fairly strict drawdown levels on them, and so what happens is people are attracted to the holy grail sort of scenario of a funded account. Oh, you're given someone else's money supposedly. I say supposedly because a lot of funded accounts, it's not real money, it's just a demo account, and they pay you any profits you make out of all the receipts that they make from application fees and challenge fees to get through the challenge process in the first place. So they make a whopping amount of profits from that. And for those small percentage of people that do make some money, once they get through, they can afford to. So there's their fees here. And in relative terms, the amount of traders who get through the challenges, who actually get through and are profitable, they can more than afford to pay from their mighty fee pot the relatively small amount that gets paid out to people. So like I said, it's these things aren't necessarily there in your favor. They need to protect what they're doing, but by contrast, it makes it more difficult for you to make money, because a merely 6% drawdown and nearly at already maxing out and then getting his account, his funded account, taken away from him, and then having to start again, pay a new challenge account fee, and then away he goes again. I'm sure that is very common, and so like that individual said, it's making it stressful for him. And whereas really what it's doing is it's not allowing you to trade freely as a trader. So like I've said at the beginning, normal drawdown, if you're risking 0.5 to 1% per trade, then a normal drawdown could comfortably be between 10 and 20%. And yet that's not going to be any good for funded accounts. So the only way to trade a funded account is to massively reduce your risk per trade. If you massively reduce your risk per trade in order to stay away from those limits, then your upside is also limited. But I guess the argument is, if you got a funded account up to 500,000, then you can afford to risk maybe 0.2 of 1%, and it'll still be all right. It'll still accumulate. You're more likely to stay away from those drawdown limits. Yes, it's smaller amounts, but it's on a larger amount of capital. That would be a way to do it. But overall, when you look at these funded accounts, and from the stories that I've been personally told, there are things like widening of spreads over weekends, for example, and far more than what's actually there in the normal market. So widening of spreads far greater than what is actually there, in order to stop you out of your overnight over weekend positions. Or you might be with a funded account provider who doesn't even allow you to hold positions overnight or over weekends, and again, that can be advantageous to them. So there are lots of rules, with many of them which ultimately are going to restrict you. That's over weekends. It might be during news as well. Their spreads may blow out a lot higher during news as well. So a lot of these things are there to catch you out, not on every trade, but over time. And that's enough for them to have the edge on you eventually hitting your drawdown limit, and then doing what? Having to start again and paying new fees in, and starting the whole process again, chasing the dream. So my advice, chase the dream, definitely do it, but I would rather you do it with your own account. Open up your own brokerage account and build that account over time. There's nothing better than that. And so with a good broker, and adding funds to it yourself, rather than committing those funds to paying challenge account fees over and over again. That's my general advice to that individual and to many more out there. Hope you have a lovely weekend. I'll be back in touch next week.